Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. It really is sickening that some people play disability police. Just because some wheelchair users can stand up and walk a bit doesn't mean they don't need the chair. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. EM demands to use my wheelchair. EM entitled mom, kid, her kid, sis, my little sister, me, obviously. Some context. I have a disability that causes me to have severe balance issues, along with muscle weakness and falls. And while I can still walk, it's unsafe for me to do so, so I use a wheelchair. One day, I needed to go to the supermarket and decided to take my little sister along with me. I don't see her often as I live out of home, so we made a day out of it, going to the biggest shopping center on our side of town and had a great time. After having lunch in the food court, she wanted to have a play in the playground they have, so with her sitting on my lap, I pushed us over and she went in and had a blast. After about 15 minutes, she fell over, and since my chair can't fit into the playground, I removed my walking stick from its holder on the side and walked in to make sure she was all right. In enters the entitled parent. After getting my sis to stop crying by joking I'd have to eat her leg now that she's landed on it, when I joke like that, she giggles like mad, I turned to wobble back to my chair only to see it's been moved. It was about 3 meters away from where I left it, right by the entrance where parents had left trolleys, prams, etc., and a child was sitting in my seat while her mom spun the chair around. I made my way over and asked for my chair back when EM started on me. Me, hello, I need my wheelchair back and you shouldn't have taken it without asking. EM, but you can walk. I was so taken aback by that, yes, I could walk, but I was obviously struggling to even stand. Me, excuse me? EM, you can walk, you don't need it, you just want it. I was shocked. As she was saying this, she was raising her voice and people were starting to look. I was firm and told her that while, yes, I can walk, I can't do so for very long and need my chair. EM, well, what's wrong with you then? Me, none of your business. EM, you say you need the chair, but you won't even tell me what's wrong with you? She said it as if I was the crazy one. She reluctantly got her kid off my chair, so I put my stick away and sat back down. My muscles in my legs were agony from having to stand for so long, so I pushed myself back to where my sis and I were set up to try and forget what had just happened and rest. As I was going, she was loudly complaining about me to the people around her, claiming I'm lying about needing my chair because I can walk and that I'm just a dull bludger. I got my sis from the playground and left the food court as fast as I could. My sis was upset from the confrontation too, so we went and saw a movie to calm us down. I think it was The Secret Life of Pets we saw. She loved it. I've had people both confront me about walking and demand to know what's wrong with me before, but I've never had a complete stranger take my chair. Please treat people's wheelchairs / walking sticks / walkers as an extension of their body and not something to touch without permission. Edit. I thought I'd add this here. A dull bludger in Australian is slang for someone who claims welfare and social benefits, Centrelink, when they're either undeserving or just plain refuse to work. And our second story. Coolest customer ever, a World War II vet. This is an old one from right after I graduated college. Set your Wayback Machine to 1992. Also be forewarned, this is a cool story, but no crazy customers. Just an awesome moment I won't forget. Right out of school, I got a job at a video dub house. Basically, we took videotapes and copied them. This was just outside of the DC area, so lots of government contractors, corporate clients, that sort of thing. People wanting to take a professional tape and make several hundred VHS copies at a time. Well, one day an older gentleman walks in, maybe in his 60s, 70s, not sure. He tells me and my boss that he was a pilot in World War II and that his plane, like most of them back then, had cameras mounted to the guns. Film cameras, of course, this being the 1940s. Well, anytime he fired his guns, the cameras rolled film for a certain number of seconds. And the films had just been declassified, all of them. And he was given a copy of every time he pulled the trigger in the plane he was flying. He was asking us to make some VHS copies of his tape, I think he had it on tape. We didn't do many film transfers, but that's irrelevant. My boss was an amateur pilot and asked if he could make an extra copy for himself, and I wanted one too, and the man had no problem with us having our own copies. But then he told us an amazing story. He was shot down and captured by the Germans. This was while they were still winning the war. While he was a prisoner, he would only give his name, rank, and serial number, but the Germans went through the motions of interrogating him. That's when they chopped off the tip of one of his fingers. When he still wouldn't talk, that was the end of it. They weren't too worried as they were kicking butt all over Europe and had plenty of other captured pilots to interrogate. Anyway, they gave him a job. He had to keep the runways clear. He was a prisoner at an active base. Don't ask me details because I don't remember. I only heard the story once and it was 20 years ago. Anyway, keeping runways clear of debris was as important then as it is now. So in between the German pilots landing and taking off, that was his job. And then one day, a German landed his Messerschmitt and hopped out but left it running. And our hero was right there on cleanup duty. Instead, he hopped in and stole the plane. Took off right away. The Germans were trying to shoot him down, and he flew it to England, and there the British were trying to shoot him down. They had no way of knowing he was an American in a German plane. But he managed to land it safely and complete his escape. According to him, the plane he stole was at the Smithsonian. I've seen Messerschmitt planes at the Air and Space, but they don't have information on how they were acquired. So that's the story, just a random encounter with a retail customer that I'll never forget. And he was thrilled that my boss and myself were enthralled by the story. I have no way of verifying this, though he was missing the tip of one finger, and we did copy the footage for him. Somewhere in my storage area, in one of the many boxes of VHS tapes I have, there's a chance I still have his footage. Don't hold out hope, because I have a lot of tapes and don't feel like going through them all, but if I find it anytime soon, I'll see if I can post some footage. Because, dude shot down some Nazis. Edit. It's been some days since I posted this, and I've had no luck hunting down the tape. I'm really bummed. Sure, it's here somewhere, but there's a very real chance it got tossed out over the past decades. This is one of those rare stories where working retail is totally worth it. Every once in a while, you get one of those cool customers who just makes your day. And our last story. Kicked my ex-wife out of my house right before Christmas and sued her. My ex and I divorced about 15 years ago, and we've shared custody of our daughter. In the divorce, she wanted our house, but I fought hard against it because it's been my family home for 3 generations before I inherited it. In the end, we came to a compromise that was signed off by the judge. Basically, she gets to live in the house rent-free until our daughter turns 18, then I get it back. I had to pay the utilities, maintenance, and property taxes the entire time. In addition, she can't make any modifications or upgrades to the house without my written permission. She's solely responsible for the cost, and the work has to be performed by an insured and legally licensed professional. I've been sending her move-out notices for months in anticipation of my daughter's 18th birthday, and recently that came to pass. The day after I showed up to the house with a contractor because I wanted some work done before I moved back in. At first, she refused to let me in until I reminded her that I'm the legal owner of the house. According to our divorce settlement signed by the judge, she's no longer allowed to be there. And I'll call the police if she doesn't let me in. She got the point and opened the door. I was surprised nothing was packed, and it didn't seem like she's moving at all. We were arguing as I walked through and inspected my house. She wanted extra time, and I told her to be out by the end of the week or I'll have her stuff thrown out. When I walked into the living room, I was shocked into silence. The living room was expanded by a wall being torn down and having the bedroom that was once there merged into it. She turned my 4-bedroom house into a 3-bedroom one. I know I didn't sign off on this, and from the looks of it, the work was probably done by her boyfriend and not a professional. I yelled at her and told her I'm going to sue her for everything she has. Then I left. She went crying to our daughter and my family. Now everyone's telling me to give her another month to find a place and not to sue her. My daughter is firmly on her mother's side and thinks I'm the a-hole for kicking her mother out a couple of weeks before Christmas and suing her. I think I'm right, and legally I am right, but my daughter's opinion of me matters to me. Edit. My daughter's a freshman in college, and I rent her an apartment near campus where she lives by herself. She has a room in my house, and I assume we'll have a room wherever her mother lives. My ex fought for the house and had a chance of winning, even though we had shared custody because I make much more than her, I offered her a compromise and she took it because her attorney told her it was a good deal and there was an equal chance I could win, which would leave her without a house. My relationship with my daughter is good. She didn't tell me about the renovation because early on I told her I don't want to talk or hear anything about her mother unless it's something that's affecting her, daughter, negatively. My ex was dead to me and I wanted to spend time with my daughter building new memories. Edit 2. My daughter's a wonderful girl and I couldn't ask for a better daughter. She has a big heart and cares about her mother. I've made it a point to never talk about her mother since the divorce, so I'm sure she doesn't fully understand our situation. I plan to talk to her. I inherited the house during our marriage, and since we were still in the honeymoon phase, I placed her name on the deed. After that, I remortgaged the house twice, once to get a better rate and once for money we needed. All this led to my attorney advising I compromise. He said there's a risk of losing the house, so I compromised. She's had 15 years to find alternative accommodation. You even sent her reminders. And she violated the agreement by having unauthorized work done? Hell no. Kick her out. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.